So in preparation for another event that happens annually, actually we have two of them, we'll go ahead and let Mark talk about museum ships weekend.
Okay.
Your turn.
I'll just follow his lead and sit here and talk.
Well, I'll let you get up to where you can see everybody or talk to everybody.
So most of you are aware, I think 90% of you are aware, we do once a year, we have a museum ships activation where there are, I think this year was 110 ships. It was over 100, I think.
109?
109, yeah, it's 109 ships across the nation and around, around the world. Their museum ships activate the radio rooms and amateurs communicate with those ships, okay, and collect them.
You might need to get a little bit closer over here to where the guys on like.
Sure, why don't I go
Sorry.
there so I can get close to the.
I think the mic might even work.
We even have the microphone.
The mic does work.
Okay. So, I gotta turn it on too. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. So, these 110, 109 museum ships activate their radio rooms, and amateurs from around the world contact these ships, collect them, and is it 30, Larry, is it 30 contacts to get a certificate?
No, so 15.
15? Okay, so if you contact 15 of the ships, you get a certificate for it. And Larry just told us he contacted 47 of them, which is pretty good. Anyways, we activated the Kavala, the Stewart, and the Selma on Pelican Island in Galveston first weekend in June. It is normally a 48-hour event where we start on a Friday night and go until, the event goes until Sunday night. We operated for one day, basically from around noon on Saturday until about noon on Sunday. Part of the reason for that is because we were overnighting on the Stewart, we did have to pay for some bunks on there because they have to have a custodian, watching over us being in the ships, and so we had to pay for that. So the budget this year, most of the budget this year went for that. We also they didn't have room for us the night before. So normally we have 2 nights, but we went with one night, and that's a consideration for next year as to whether we do it one night or 2 nights, and how we can figure that, and such that we reduce costs to the club to be able to do that. So we'll have more on that further down the road. But we set up operations. We had 2 stations going. We had 2 antennas up, end-fed half wave on the deck, and we also had a DX commander on the fantail. And ran mostly 20 meters and 40 meters. We ran FT8 for about maybe 3 or 4 hours. Sideband most of the time we were there, and CW most of the time we were there. And that's the best CW we had, I think, since we've been doing it. I think we had 95 contacts. So we had 95 QSOs on CW, and y'all were there too, working on sideband as well. And we had made much fewer sideband contacts. I think we had maybe about 40 or 50 sideband contacts. I haven't been through the entire log yet. And FT8 contacts, I think, were probably in the 30s or 40s. But band conditions are pretty rough. But again, we did the best we could. Most of it was on 20 meters. Some was on 40 meters. We also had a transmission line failures. To be able to run a transmission line from the antennas into where we operate, which is an air-conditioned space, we have one penetration through the deck that we're able to use. And that penetration through the deck is only about that big around. And so in the past, we ran 4 pieces of RG8 through that hole and field soldered it. But this time around, the pigtails, we call them, failed because they corroded and they separated at the shield. So we worked up a temporary couple of transmission lines, got it back and running, and we have since, ADR, give credit to them, have come up with a solution for doing the pigtails, which is they have a special connector that is about the same width as RG8, and we can fit 4 of these through that hole, and then without having to field solder, just screw this PL259 onto that. And we don't have to worry about, and we'll use it at activation. It's not a permanent installation. We'll use it when we activate it so that these are not subject to corrosion in the field. So that's what we'll be looking at using. Well, this is what we're using for next year. For any activation on the ship, this is what we'll be using to be able to run through the deck. Forward on this, next year, yeah, we may run a night on the ship, depending on budget, depending on availability. We're also looking at alternate locations because we are able to do the event as long as we're within sight of the ships. And so we're looking at other locations where we can be within sight of the ships and not have to pay. It's a fairly exorbitant fee to be on the ship, maybe do it someplace else nearby. So that's for next year. Another event, that's any questions on museum ships before I move on? Go ahead.
Did I miss something? Are they charging you now?
Yes. The reason that they're charging us is that for liability reasons and because it is a museum, they have to pay somebody to chaperone us for the entire time that we're on board. Because we're
donate money every year to that when we would go, and those guys loved it.
That's correct, but times have changed. Okay, so we're not able to be on board overnight.
They still love you, but the lawyers don't know you.
Yeah, the policies have changed for a variety of reasons, but the policy is, if we're gonna have an overnight there has to be a museum employee, somebody
And
that.
that's just the overnight. So if you work in the day, they're not gonna charge you?
And that's correct.
Well, that's not too bad. I've always been
Okay. So, and the idea there is that, they're strapped for cash, for one thing. Secondly, is a liability issue. Okay. And since we've been on board, they've had another management change. They lost the superintendent. So they go through superintendents about, 1 a year. And so we're having to reacquaint ourselves with everybody and so on. And, I just called them a day or two ago, and the call that we use, the N5FKP call, we have it registered to the museum. And so our QSL cards go there. And so I call them up and say, hey, have you received the QSL cards? And they're not sure why these are coming or who they're coming to. And, what's the deal with these postcards? And so, because of the staff changes, because
They need to think of us as an event to draw people to them.
Yes.
Like something they would have to pay for.
Well, and we're trying to do that a little bit more. The problem that we have is to expose ourselves more to the public. It's difficult to do because of the configuration of our operation. Because we have to be in air conditioning. We can't use the radio room at that time of the year because there's no air conditioning. Okay.
Is that a park and you put it down there?
That is not a park. It's a county park.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not a POTA thing. And the museum is its own entity, and they are leasing from the county park. Okay. But we're welcome to come act. We are welcome to come and activate and do things, but we are not one of their higher priorities for a variety of reasons.
I think with the 1 year thing, they forget about us by the time the next.
Well, the
year
staff
comes.
changes.
Yeah, and that too.
Okay, the staff changes, so that we're having to reacquaint them almost every year. To so we had the CPAC guys were down there several times in the last 6 months, and they've got 3 AM receivers, part of the ship's receivers. They got them working. They went down there and they did some repairs. They're working on the power supplies, and they did get them operating. And yes, the museum is very appreciative of that, But again, it's not one of their higher priorities because of the lack of resources.
Even that group that's coming down, getting the radio equipment working, that's not at the top of their list either.
That is low on their list. It's actually low on their list. I mean, it's not a priority for them to.
What about the other group that comes down from the
It's the Edsel group. There is a group, the Edsel group. The Stewart, USS Stewart is an Edsel class destroyer escort. And there is a group of Edsel veterans, if you will. They've somehow associated themselves either because they served on the ships, or they built the ships, or they're somehow, family associated with that. They come down once a year, but they come down not as an event, but as a restoration event. So they come down and they help restore, and they provide funds for restoration as well. So they're a continuing resource. They only have like maybe half a dozen resources. They get a little bit of public money from the city. They get a little bit of public money from a couple other resources, but those are drying up. And they do have to pay the county from their ticket proceeds to pay the lease that they have. They have a long-term lease for the museum on the county park. And the ticket prices, a large amount of the ticket prices goes towards that.
I mean, after one of the hurricanes, I don't remember which one, I mean, that place got wiped out. That's when the ship was lifted out and flipped on its side.
That was Ike. Yeah, Ike did that.
But they got money for that, but the money was distributed elsewhere. And
well, they didn't get Ike money. The Ike money that came from the feds and so on, they didn't get money for that from the Ike fund. I don't know where the money came from for that, but I know it didn't come from that. And since that time, I don't know if you guys remember when we were on board ship. I think it's just only been maybe about a year and a half. They actually have moored the Stewart to the ground. They have large anchors. They have large pilings at four corners of the boat now. And we used to park the antenna trailer where one of those pilings is. And so they just put those in just within the last year and a half or so. And so if another Ike came through, that ship wouldn't float away.
I thought it was Ike funds that they were able to get. Maybe.
I don't think it was.
Maybe it went to the county, and the county then goes some out to them.
That could be. That's possible.
They had to have something to write the Stewart back up.
They had to, yeah.
It was
Yes.
lifted up.
Right. And since that time, they've, quote, Ike-proofed it. Okay. So, okay. Any other questions on museum ships? Okay. Next event is in November, and I believe it's November 12th through the 19th. It's called Fleet Week. I don't know if you've heard of Fleet Week at all lately, but this is the first time in Houston that the Navy is coming and bringing some of their ships, active ships, to Houston Port. And they will be docking, and their sailors, about 1,200 sailors, are going to be, public relations in Houston. And they're going to have about several hundred events that are going to be associated with Fleet Week. And we've been talking to the city, and we're in the preliminary stages. But the other Fleet Weeks that have occurred in Orlando and New York, and I think it's Norfolk, have all had ham radio presence, okay? Where I think New York in May had, for the entire week, they had several operators, and they had a special call, and they had about 8,000 QSOs for that Fleet Week. So I've already reserved a special call. So we have a special call N5F for Fleet Week for Houston. And as time goes on, as we approach November, I'll be looking to see if there's people available to serve as operators.
So where are we going to set up at?
At home. Some can set up at home. Some can set up, well, we're going to see if we can find one or two venues. What New York does is they set up a venue at the point at which the ships come into the harbor, at one of the bridges. And they announced the event. They're also doing QSOs. They have public exposure. The city event here is planning on a couple of venues. One of the venues is going to be at where the ships dock, and there'll be booths available. We can set up a booth there. We can set up a station there. Another venue is going to probably be at Discovery Green. They're going to do some stuff there. But I'm already in contact with the city. I'm already in contact with a couple of sponsors that are interested in helping out where they can. But this is the first time Houston is doing it. They're a little bit disorganized as to how they're putting it together. A lot of it is coordination with the Navy because it's actually a Navy event.
Are they gonna do anything on ship channel, setting things up out there, or do you know?
Yes, they are going to do it at the ship channel. It's going to be just downstream of the turning basin. So they're going to be coming up pretty close to the turning, and there's a Port of Houston dock that they'll be able to come into.
I mean, it's been a while, but they had, a long time ago, it was a ship christening, and I figure that's where they do it. It's right under the 610 bridge.
No, this is.
That's where it was when I did that.
Yeah, I think it's downstream of the 610 bridge, but close to it. Okay, I haven't identified it yet, but I'm just in the preliminary stages. But anyways, I reserved the call, and we'll see where it goes. But if it's going to turn into an annual event, again, we're promoting it to the city as something like Wings Over Houston.
At least it will be cooler.
At least it will be cooler, okay, and it'll be easier. And again, this is something that we can have. Like 13 Colonies is like, these are operators from home. Okay, so we basically assign the call to somebody and they run it for, a day or a shift or whatever from wherever their station is and just pick up QSOs and just have a commingled log. And then we'll also have the stations either at the venues or something like that. Again, it's still a little bit early, but that's kind of where we're headed with that. Okay.
What's that date, Mark?
I believe it's November 12th to the 19th,
Okay.
I believe.
That's 1 week.
Yeah.
I pulled it up, it says 5th to the 12th, I don't know if that sounds right.
What again?
It says 5th to the 12th.
5th through the 12th, I got it wrong. But 5th through the 12th, and I reserved the call 5th through the 12th. So I'm looking for volunteers to help with that too. Depending on what volunteers we are able to put together, that's kind of how we'll distribute the load as far as, running stations and things like that. So that's what I've got.
The tower trailer will be available to bring that out there. That'll be nice.
Right.
Show and tell.
Right, exactly. So, okay, any other questions? Otherwise I'll turn it over to Chris.
Well, for right now, Richard has stepped down, so
He was on the phone.
for a few minutes, smoke if you got it.
I got a question. Anyone else work 13 colonies last weekend?
Yeah.
How many did you get?
I don't remember, I came up just a little bit short.
I only got 4.
Yeah, I ended up with like 8 or 10. Conditions were marginal for a lot of the time.
Yeah.
There were a lot of stations that I could just barely hear, and not low enough to be able to get contact, so.
Yeah,
I had no success on the phone. I had to go to digital.
Really,
yeah.
all
Last year I got all 13.
Yeah, I did too. This year.
And also 2 of the extras.
Really?
Yeah, I got KG13 COL and also William 10.
Oh, we're done. Like, I'm gonna start talking right away, I guess.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. That was not what I was expecting. Okay. That was a shell shocker.
This year.
Now,
This year was absolutely dismal.
All right, so,
Richard is our coordinator for field day, and he's back now.
yeah. I'll tell you right now, as it stands with the numbers, right now we're at over 400 contacts more than we made last year. A good percent of them were CW. I'm not swearing on numbers yet, but I think we did quite much better than we did last year, contrary to what I was saying at the end of field day, Sunday before last. We did actually do quite well. Some of the computers weren't reporting numbers correctly, so that's where I was panicking. But when I got the final number, it was a lot more than what I saw. So thank you, everybody that helped out. I know Glenn's the computers, Alan for the radios, Daphne, Scott for the food. I guess none of them are here. Nobody of the lead team is here.
Bill's on the air, online.
Oh, Bill. Okay, Bill. We've got Vance, who also helped out. Everybody that was on the teams out there, thank you very much. And people are on the web, thank you. And the janitors and everybody else, yeah. We had an awesome field day. We did a lot more than we did the year before. We had 2 different classes. One, we had 101, contesting 101. Then we had message relaying, which I'm glad we had because it was used this weekend, which is kind of ironic that we used it the weekend after we had it. Food team has found new ways of doing things. Also gave me practice and some of the other teams practice in ICS, which gave us an ability to now set up again, and this kind of rolls on what we were talking about in the very first of this meeting, putting together emergency teams. But one of the things I want to ask, how many people were there that weekend? Okay, so we had quite a few people. What I'd like to do is I always get the information from the leads on what we should change, what we shouldn't, what we need to do. What I'd like to find out is some general plug, and literally I have a blank sheet of paper here. Okay, I want to know what we need to, well, the first I'm going to ask is what we need to do, what we found good. The next question I'm going to ask is, what do we need to change? And then the last thing I'm going to say is, what did you absolutely hate about it? Because we may want to change something or we may hate something. The difference to that is, what do you want to change is something we've got an idea, we know how to change it. What do we absolutely hate about it is something we can't avoid, but let's see if we can make it better. So I kind of want to go through that with everybody so that next year we've got a better situation. Now, note, we did have a few things come out of this field day that are positive. And is Dave online? McCarty?
He's not.
He's not. Okay. The one guy that caused me to start is Alan on there. Okay, the 2 guys that made me start doing this. One thing we do is called N1NM, which is the recording software. Or N1MM, which is our recording software. November 1, Mike. What did I say?
N1MM.
Yeah, N1MM is the software we use. Dave brought up some weaknesses with it, some of the problems we have with it, the way we record. I noticed when I was trying to get numbers from different stations, the numbers were all different because it wasn't refreshing and all this stuff. What I've basically done is launched a project after that, starting last weekend. I'm now working on it. It's basically a piece of software where it'll be up on the web. We'll be able to put a contest in, for example, field day. Everybody at the site puts in their stuff. It's automatically recorded up on in a database. It's automatically put in the format we need for ARL. And actually, Calibra, sorry, I'm a little tired. Calibra is a generic or a gold standard for contest exchange. It had already put it in that format for us. You'll be able to go home. It will be on a public server side too, which means people that are home will be able to, if they want to go ahead and put their, they say they stay home. Like this year, I had people from Montana wanting to put their points in. The guys in Montana could go ahead and put their points into the system. Instead of them worrying about, oh, how do I do this? Do I make sure it goes to BVARC? Things like that. We'll be able to go in there, say, submit it, and it'll automatically submit for them through ARL, and we can take care of all that for them. Then we don't have to worry about, did it go to BVARC, or what's the one that's BVARC? I think it's Black Valley Amateur Radio Club is the other one. They actually use BVARC instead of the actual Brazos Valley Amateur Radio Club. We'll be able to make sure that happens. The other thing it's going to have is a map. One thing we all want to see is where are we contacting, what's going on. It'll have the regions. It's sections, thank you. That's round 2 today already. It'll have the regions and sections marked on a map, and we'll be able to see everything that happens. The other nice thing is having it in a database, we'll be able to go back in history and pull that record, and on another screen, we're going to actually be able to pull the contest and see it on the map and the calls that are going on. This will hook up to FL Digi, which means we'll pull all the data automatically, and we'll have all that going on. So if you have a rig set up for FL Digi, our system will go ahead and take care of that also. It'll hook up to FL Digi and automatically sync.
Is that a subscription based?
Right now, it's what we call open source. What I'm doing is I'm making this public. I'm going to go do the work, no cost, and make it so that BVARC is, sorry, I forgot the guy's name, but he actually started the standard for data exchange. I want us to be the standard for contesting information and how it's done. Yes.
It would be nice to field test it.
Well, we're going to do it Fleet Week. We can field test it in winter field day, and then we're ready for summer field day. And actually, I plan on using it for more than that. I say contesting only because that's the word that everybody wants me to use. But remember what field day really is actually a way of testing emergency services, emergency equipment. I want to also have STX. I want to have exercises basically of testing home and kind of like having your own private field days where we have just a small little area. Maybe we rent this space out or borrow this space, put out a few small antennas. We don't have to put out the 100-foot antenna because the reality is we're not going to have a 100-foot antenna all the time. But we stick the antenna out here. Everybody at their houses go ahead and get on HF and UHF and be able to test so that we have communications. We know what's ready. Basically a SARX, yeah. Unfortunately, not everybody knows what a search and rescue exercise for communications only. And yes, it will be under the logistics category. So long conversation inside that 2 of us had the same view in different directions. So yeah, we want to do that. But those are things that have come out of this year. I feel a lot more warm and fuzzy doing the summer field day now because I've gotten to be able to interact with a lot less problems, but interact with the groups and have conversations. So what I'd like to also hear is not only the leads that were there, what happened, what do you think is good, what's bad, but I'd like to hear from you guys. Let's start out with the things you really hate about it. Let's start from that side. Does anybody have any suggestions what you really hated about field day? Be brutal, guys, because the reality is, if we don't get this out in the air now, 11 months from now, we're going to repeat the same mistakes. I'd like to get it out now. Give us 11 months to fix it.
Yeah, well, first thing, I mean, not to be the one to throw any shots against Bob. We're planning on having it again next year in the same place.
Yes.
Okay. Given that, hopefully construction will be finished. But even then, okay, long dirt road, second guessing GPS, I'm not even sure what's out there, much less what I'm looking for is out there. You don't generally come out there unless you know what's out there. So how do we plan?
There were signs available, but they just didn't get put out in time.
Right. But how do we plan to actually make this more visible to the general public?
RMB is going to go ahead if there is construction again, which there will be in that area next year. What they are going to assist us to do is put out what they call TP signs, which are basically right now they got signs that are maybe this big on a pole, what they're gonna do is the fold-out signs, they're gonna have big orange fold-out signs for us next year.
Okay, big orange fold-out signs saying what?
Well, that's what once they give us all the planning, then we'll know what it says.
Talking about traffic plan.
Yes,
I'm sorry, what?
Traffic plan.
yeah,
Okay.
yes.
He's kind of asking, how is the general public gonna be more aware of it?
Well,
And
that's,
the answer to the question that you're answering should be talking.
well, not only talking, but one of the problems they had was that they
I know, I
couldn't.
was there,
Yeah, they didn't see, we had two people, which after talking to them, and one that John helped us with, was that it was simply that the sign that they had, that the road was closed, was literally this big, and they.
I was there, I saw it, but
Yeah,
if we had talking,
Oh, no, we were talking to them, and they couldn't see the sign.
okay, because I had the radio on when we were heading up there, I didn't hear anybody talking.
Yeah, we had some issues with talk in the beginning, and then throughout the day, we
But
forget
the
about it.
talking needs to be going all the time, so even if somebody's getting in the vicinity, hey, I want to go out there, or even if they're going to Popeyes, they can say, hey, that's field day today, I hear them talking, let's go. So it needs to not only be just talking, but it also needs to be advertising
Okay,
for the general public or for hams that forgot about it or whatever. But talk-
okay, so I'm gonna put under the fix, that's one of the things we need to work on talking. I'm sorry?
How does talking help the general public?
But doesn't, a non-ham, it doesn't.
No. Okay.
But-
Yeah, that's why I didn't call Road and Bridges about their puny little signs, and then the signs being literally like maybe, I think it was 3 blocks in before they said the road was closed. It's like, okay, the road's closed, but you can't go down any of the streets before it, you have to go 3 streets back to
The
go across.
road is really a one-way,
Yep,
so, you know.
yeah, so one of the things, okay, so I'm gonna put that under fix, but what I really wanna hear is the hate things that people hated that don't have, that know that they're gonna have an issue with, that's something we feel like, oh, well.
Air conditioning in the kitchen.
So.
That's a fix, and I already have our friend taking care of that.
So on the air conditioning in the kitchen, did y'all turn on the central unit?
Yes,
And the central unit did not work?
the main motor, right, the main motor is frozen. You can't even turn the fan.
Okay, because I talked to them about it, and they said it's a central unit. So if it's dead, I need to tell them about it.
Yeah, the fan wouldn't even move.
Okay,
I saw a hand.
that's the first I heard about it.
Yep,
The headset adapter that was being used for one of the radios, I don't remember, it was in the CW room. The headphone adapter was really finicky. You would pump it around half an inch and suddenly the headphones would work. So maybe get a headphone adapter for you, if you could.
okay.
That's just a little bit of thing, isn't it?
It's pretty small.
I got like boxes. I'll round some up.
Okay, so that's another thing under fix. Okay, we're not getting a whole lot of hate though, things that we know.
The heat. That's what we had, but it was mostly inside, so that wasn't really a problem.
Okay, that the heat is just field day. That's
Yeah, that's not
unfortunately.
something we can complain about, because nobody can do
Yeah.
anything about that.
Did everybody have problems with where we had it, besides the road?
No.
You like the space, everybody felt like they had space to move, things like that?
What I understand, Stuart Wolf was the one, traipsing around the southern half.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't even come out our way because he knew he wasn't gonna be able to find him.
No, Stewart's been out there before.
Yeah,
Oh, he had? Okay.
yeah.
Oh, Stewart's been out there, John Stratton's been out there, and John's assistant's been out there. They've all been out there before.
Yeah, they actually went north, because they switch off with the regional and stuff. They actually went to North Texas this year.
I thought John and Stuart actually do the switch off that way.
They rotate between the 3 regions.
Okay, so they just rotate.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
I mean, sometimes we don't have them out there at all because, I mean, they may hit our club, but with the other field days out there, they gotta visit those, and it's hard getting from College Station to Galveston Bay City.
I mean, otherwise, it's a good, great sites.
Oh, sections.
Yeah.
What about it?
You keep saying regions.
Sorry, section, yeah. Sorry, sections, that's right. Good.
Yeah, we were only out there for a couple hours and Susanna was doing it when we went home. But we were doing something there with you that your son wasn't really doing. And that was welcoming people. And when people would come in, I noticed they were standing there, there's like 3 sets of people that would walk in. So I got up out of the table, I welcomed them, got them to sign their name, and took them back and introduced them to Walter Homes, or whatever the case may be. So you really need a welcome committee or a welcome wagon or whatever.
Go ahead and say
call
it. You need a Walmart greeter.
You need a Walmart greeter, and I did pretty good at that for an hour and a half. But you also need this.
Yes.
Because people were asking me about membership, and we were looking for, oh, well, let's get a pencil, let's write bvark.org on the back of a piece of paper, and when you get home, you can look it up, and you know they didn't. But you could point them to this, and they can join the club right this minute. And this was inspired by Field Day.
Okay.
For me. But it's all about members. And learning.
Okay. Any other thing? Well, I'm just gonna go ahead, hate or fix, because that's it.
Got maybe a suggestion. We were there right toward the end. I sat down to a radio, had a couple of contacts on 40, and then not too long after that, there was some sort of a motor line that was creating noise on the band, and that was happening. And I'm not sure exactly what the arrangement was with radios and antennas, but I found out later that somebody had parked right underneath one of these antennas, and I think that's what I was hearing. So
Yeah,
as a suggestion, maybe something to rope off around.
We had a plan for parking, and that would be partially my fault on that one. Matter of fact, it pretty much went my fault, and then it went to absolute hell on way quickly. We were gonna have a parking situation where cars were away from the antennas in certain areas. Problem is, you need to have somebody monitoring that, and again, just like the table, we need to have somebody monitoring that section, because as soon as we got working and doing stuff, and everybody started going their different directions, the whole parking situation went to hell. As you noticed, we had people parking way over towards the, away from the entrance, and we had people going into the entrance area too. So we do have to work on that. That is a major issue that, yes.
Yeah, even if you're not able to get somebody to monitor it all the time, just something to rope it off at some distance would be a bit helpful.
Is there an IT guy that you report that to take care of the problem while you stay operating? Right? Hey, I got a problem, I got noise on here, who do I report it to? Report it to Mr. Big, whoever that is, and
Yes.
and he'll go find Richard and they'll go out in the parking lot.
We did have Alan on site helping out on that, so.
Alan
Greer.
Alan what?
Alan Greer.
Alan Breyer. Well, he's sitting there doing CW, you can't interrupt him.
Oh, he got up a bunch of times to help out. We had radios go down and everything, he got up, oh yeah.
Alan actually did a lot of,
But you need somebody full-time
oh yeah,
to be a problem solver.
but Alan was actually doing problem solving
Yeah.
on both sides, both sideband and CW.
Yeah.
Which is kind of rare.
To help out during that.
He waved at him, but boy, he did not want to say hello.
No, he was there to solve problems and make
No,
points.
he was working. He was
Yeah,
working.
his thing was to solve problems and make points.
That CW is more important than anything.
Yeah, if there was a problem, yeah, everybody told me I went and talked to him in the CW room, he had no problem with it, that was his thing. Between him and then,
Dave Hardy.
Glenn, yeah, those two did a lot of interesting things this year. Okay, anything else?
I kind of understood that Glenn was actually not going to be doing
computer stuff next year?
Yes,
I'll bring all that up in a minute.
yeah. And actually, I actually had something I was gonna say about that too, so. Okay, all right, since I'm not getting a whole lot of hate or fix,
We don't pretty good show. I wasn't there long.
Yeah. okay, what about things we like that we absolutely wanna keep next year?
Food.
Food, yeah, food.
Okay, besides the food, what else?
Radios,
I'm sorry?
radios.
Okay, radios.
Food.
One-on-one contesting, was it worth keeping? Or should we not do that next year?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question.
Okay.
I wasn't there for most of the presentation. Did he go over N1ML?
No, it was mainly how to manage the radio, how to handle the calls, things like that.
I would suggest having an N1MM primer. So that was
Well, that was something that actually came out of this year. What we're gonna do is, and this is actually with, David actually handed me the idea. We're gonna do is a custom piece of software. And that's what I was saying, that has the database and everything else.
Whatever you use, have a primer.
Have a primer on how to use it.
On how to use it.
Yep.
Before anybody even enters.
In the past, they've done that, before field day, they've had a presentation on how to work in one of them, or how to connect them, or whatever they did.
Yep.
And you should have it a couple of times.
In the past.
Yeah. Yeah, this software should make it a lot easier for us. Because like, I mean, John came up, he's like, well, you know, I gotta learn N1M and stuff like, I'm like, if we have to learn it, then we're thinking too much, because it should lead you right through making the contact, and if it's not, that means we gotta figure out how to make this quicker for everybody, because,
All software should be other.
yeah.
All right.
I like the idea of standardizing on the K3s. That way you only have to.
When you-
learn
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Standardize on a K3s. We need some instruction on the K3s. Unfortunately, I was around David Riccardi all the time. And he could point out something, say, with something as simple as raising the tone level, for some reason, heavyweight CW guys like Alan and David, they like the tone very low. I like it to be as loud as the guy coming back at me. And I couldn't figure out how to adjust it, so finally, Dave is going 90 miles an hour working SO2R, two receivers, doing this number. Finally, I could see he came up with air, how do I raise the tone? Anyway, we need some tutorials on the K3 also.
And that needs to be not just in the beginning, but that needs to be on anybody that may walk in off the street and decide, hey, can I operate?
Okay. All right, any other likes besides food, radios, and,
We like you just fine.
oh, thanks.
Open bar.
Open bar.
All right.
Instruction, the sheet in front of the radio that explains, what to do whenever you sit down.
Well, one thing
That was
my son did bring up that Saturday night was what they really want to see is the band plan on top of the monitor. And then a sheet on how to call, like Alan had this year, he had that instruction sheet, that worked out. What I'm hoping to do is with the software we have, is when you change the radio to the different frequencies, it will automatically determine the band you're in. It'll have up there, you've ever seen the ARL band plan, the graphical sheet? It will bring that up on the screen, show you the same thing in the little corner. So when you change, the screen changes, the band plan changes, and you're set. The only thing you're gonna have to remember is to log in and like we normally do. That's gonna be and then enter the exchange, and that's about it. So I want to simplify that process, because John came told me, well, I got to learn N1MM, and I'm thinking to myself, well, John's not the only person. I've heard everybody else. How do I do this? How do I do that? So we do need to, I need to simplify that. And then when Dave came to me and said, well, I've got an idea, I want to put a map up on a wall. I'm like, well, where do you get the data? He goes, well, wherever we get it from. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's just asking for trouble. So we are going to put a standard. The other thing we're going to do is, one thing we always have a problem with is connecting all the computers and then making one computer the master. And if that one locks up, everybody else that, I'm literally going to put this on a small server at the site so that everything comes in, and then we not only see us going on, but if anybody else wants to go public too, we can see what's going on out there too, so we get an idea of what's going on and who's hitting who. Just helps out a lot better too. So, but yes, we do want to have that up there. We do want to have that instruction sheet. So hopefully we simplify it and then also have the simple instructions of what to do and say.
And I have one other, just a big kudos. We were there again right at the end. Nathan walked into the CW room, and for the life of me, I can't remember his name. I'm awful with names. But he found a gentleman that was very patient and helpful and sat down with him. And he was able to get, how many times? 8?
I think 8 CW contracts.
Yeah, and you know that for him to have that experience was tremendous. And to have
That was Dave McCarty. That's the guy that actually did the class 101.
Yeah.
Yes, then he was one of the top contesters in the U.S. or almost, if not the top contester in the U.S. I mean,
yeah, that mentorship is
incredible. What I want to do, and like we did with Field Day, what I'd like to do is get people prepared and exercise on Winter Field Day and go ahead from there. Now, again, I need somebody to help me with Winter Field Day because that is a busy time of the year for me. So if somebody wants to co-chair with me, gonna have to work on that a little more, I guess. So that is one of the things that we are going to have to do. But yes, we need to get more mentors, and I want to also set up more of a, not only during these competitions, but just in general, setting up mentors with people, basically elders, and set up people starting to teach and get together. Because really, you know, others are getting up there in age, and they're the next round for B-Mark. So we really want to bring them up and really invest in what this is to become. So, you know, I 100% agree on mentors. And literally, Dave, I mean, I sat there even through the weekend listening to Dave and listen to talk. I know so much more about what Field Day really is about. Not only you know, I take it from the emergency service side, let alone the point side, but understanding what's going on, what's happening. That's why I'm willing to write the software and make this happen, because it all makes sense now. You know, we used to turn antennas at odd times. He was like, no, don't turn them. I'm like, okay. We literally had, because I looked at last year and this year, we had about 15, 20 more contacts this year in an hour than when we went and turned them early. When we left those antennas, and something small like that makes a big difference. So, yeah. It's really a good thing.
Ask, Bill, what's the reason behind not changing the direction of the antennas? I mean, let's say you're pointed at 6 land, and you keep it there. Is it just because of the gray line, or what?
Well, what he did, and this kind of gets interesting about the antennas. We normally point all the antennas northeast, and we start getting that, you know, we do that sweep. What he did was, he didn't necessarily point it at northeast. He pointed it more towards, a little more towards the lakes, towards Michigan and that. We were still picking up Florida and everybody else, just like we normally do, because it's side shot. But because we moved it over, if this is the side of the US kind of diagonal, we were shooting it towards New York and the New England. What he did was move like this, because really the radiating isn't a straight line, it's more of a kind of cone. Yeah, wedge. Well, he moved that wedge enough that allowed us to keep it steady longer, got more of our outside, and then when we finally left at night, we were able to bring it over towards the California and that side. It just gave us more time in that wedge
So
space.
you're following the gray line, but more slowly.
Yes. And it, like I said, it gave us a good number of contacts, 15 something contacts. So, those little things evidently make a big difference because, like I said, we did 400 more this year than we did last year. Now again, we did have, that's kind of where I lost my welcome table too a lot, was what we did was we saw people walking around or standing around and we saw an empty station. We literally said, hey, do you want to go work radio? There's an empty station here. There's something not working here. Every 15 minutes, we did a search around and made sure that those radios are kept going. The only band we couldn't keep going was that was horizontal, so it was the 15 meter. But that was a shot in the dark on some point, so it was just a dead band at points. And then the 1080 we had problems with, and we lost that a couple of times, but that was really the only time we had empty stations. So we plan on doing that again.
I got two specific comments, one suggestion. I mean, your son did a great job at the desk when he was there and so on. But I was not aware that the sign-up sheet was done by the day. And the only reason I knew to sign up, I spent the night. So when I got up Sunday morning, I didn't sign anything until about 9 or 10 o'clock because I saw people who were there the previous day. So it has to be made clear that they got to sign up for each day, and that's our wish. Okay. The other thing is, I called you on this. There's the link to the sign up Google thingamajiggy. Okay. You have to have it in a link form. And I called you a couple times and it didn't materialize, so I finally called Eddie. And you had that nice poster you had, you created with, and the URL was on that, but of course you couldn't have a hot link on that. So Eddie just put the hot link.
So we should have worked together on the website to make that stuff.
Yeah. Here's on that one, what we're gonna do is, well, 2 things we're gonna change on that. Actually, it's 3 things we're gonna have. And that, again, another thing that I learned from it is one, yes, Alan is going to help me write in the next 11 months, a standard operating procedure for it. So what we're going to have is, here's what needs to be done, here's a checklist, here's what, and each checklist is going to have, well, if it needs details, here's all the details of what to do. One of the things we're going to have is, we're going to have a person that's the membership or team control person. What he's going to do is he's going to take that, he's going to go ahead and manage, get the people on board, get things taken care of, making sure that the sign-up sheet's available, so it's in a Google sheet and everything. And that's what's going to happen there. We're going to have the standard operating procedures. And then what we're also going to do is the sign-up sheet we're going to manage a little bit differently, and Alan's actually going to handle that from the beginning because, and I didn't know this until this year, evidently he's been managing people in the background. I never even knew he was managing people. So that's why I wanted to fire him up and take it on, because I thought it just got dropped. And then I found out that evidently he was doing it in the background. I didn't know. So well, he's going to manage that. But now again, the flyer and things like that worked out well. I will do the publicize, but we'll put links and things like that in text format next time too. So it's kind of a 2-layer problem there. And then, yes, website.
You just gotta let me know what you want on there and I'll make it happen. If you don't contact me at all, nothing happens.
I know.
John calls me up 3 days before the thing and I said, nobody's giving me anything.
Yeah. Well,
we did get some stuff on there.
I do appreciate that. Yeah.
When you did that, you know, you had on the right side of this sheet for people that were gonna go to pick a slot. Yeah, like 3 or 4. Within an hour or 2 of his doing that, there were like 10. And it's been on there for 2 weeks before that.
Yeah. Well, we did have quite a few people calling me saying I'm coming, and then I'd give them the link, I'd tell them where to go, and they didn't sign up right away. They literally would say, I'm coming.
It's not just field day though, it's every event, including museum ships and
Yeah.
whatever. We didn't do anything on museum ships on the website.
Yeah, oh, no, but I had people who weren't even following instructions. Go out to the website.
I understand,
sign
that
up.
needs to be in there.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get the web part done.
But yeah, they were calling me and everything. Oh yeah, I'm gonna come out there, and then, and it's like, okay, and then I would even send them the info, email it to them directly, and they'd still be like, okay, hello, what do you gotta actually take an action after I tell you to do the action? It seemed to be lacked on a few people, but yes, we did finally get all those people. So it's a good thing. And like I said, the publicity that I did, the way I publicized rather, the event this year, I'm used to doing public events and doing large mass sendings. I've never done one just Houston or just our area. And I wound up getting people from Montana that are sending in. I've got people from Nevada. I've got one from two from Illinois that want to give us points. It's like, well, that wasn't exactly what I meant to do, but I'll take them anyway, So yeah, but like I said, we're gonna have a standard operation, we're gonna have a checklist, we're gonna have, any of those things are gonna have details in them. And then Alan again is gonna run the teams and things like that, so we need a human resource person, but basically an operations chief is what I call it, but that's what we need to have, so. Good. Anybody online have anything?
We asked if there were any questions.
No, Bill's still there and Roy, W5T, TKC, but I don't think, like I said, Dave asked to see if they had any questions. No
Okay.
questions for them.
Roy, sleep.
Oh, Roy has something.
Oh.
I said Roy is asleep.
Oh.
So Roy doesn't have any questions other than to be quiet.
Quiet, yeah. Now, with that said, next year, I plan on running with a fairly larger team. And then we also have some shrinking of team that we need to replace. I don't know how you want to do it. Do you want to make the announcement? Do I want to come up with my solutions? How do you want to do that? Once you make the announcement, then I'll come up with the solutions.
Everyone here is now on the committee.
Okay. So, Bill Friedel, who's through his generosity and everything over the years, has helped put together the tower trailer and all that. He's stepping down. The tower trailer's gonna have to start taking care of it ourselves. So we're gonna have to find a place for the trailer, and we're also gonna have to get a team for the trailer operations, to where somebody can use it and everything. Mike K5MGJ is very familiar with it. I'm a little familiar with it. We're gonna have to get probably a half dozen people to be able to operate the trailer and everything. So Bill Friedel, really thank you, Bill, if you can hear me. Appreciate everything over the years on that. He's just stepping down, and we're just gonna have to fill in for trailer operations, antenna trailer. Glenn Anderson also was last year stepping down. So we're gonna need a place for the equipment and computer storage, and we're also gonna need a team for the operation of the computer equipment and everything. That's something I'll get with Richard. Richard talking about doing a server to where we have a master and the slaves and things like that. So all that can be worked up. So that's some of the bigger changes on field day and other events with the tower trailer and everything. So all that will be more to come, you might say. And the only other thing I have is Greater Houston Ham Fest, new dates, February 20th and 21st, Fort Bend County Fairgrounds. Due to a change the way they did things, I lost our March dates. Nothing I did, something they did. Basically, I got kicked out, but it was nothing I did because I was following all their rules, on reservations. So they gave me three weekends to choose from, 20th, 21st of February. The next weekend, which would be the same weekend as Orange, not gonna do that, or the first weekend of April, which is Easter weekend, not gonna do that. So February 20th and 21st for Greater Houston Hamfest. It'll be on the Hamfest website here shortly. So, back at the fairgrounds, and already talked to our primary vendor, ham radio outlet, and they're ready to go already for that. So we'll have to really start a little bit sooner. We almost, not quite a month earlier, 3 weeks early. So, anything else from anybody? Any other announcements? Richard, do you have anything else?
Okay, I got one thing, actually, well, 1.5 things. One is, I've been talking to multiple people. We have, we're putting together the emergency announcement team. It's going to be on, we're going to use the 146.88 repeater. During storms, we are going to start putting out the NOAA weather reports. We're going to try getting not the weather reports, the NOAA weather alerts. Working with FEMA, working with National Weather Service to get those alerts out over the ham radio. It will be on VHF, UHF VHF and UHF. We're trying to get both sides because a lot, we're using those sides because you can. It's handy talkie. You can get them on your handy talkie, and the 146.88 does reach all the way to Beaumont. I've heard all the way to Columbus. I've heard all the way up in Spring in the Woodlands, and I've heard it down towards. You got it on the ships too?
We used it as
Okay, then I need to find out, because as far as I got it was down at Ellington. You had it way beyond there.
It's just fine all the way down the.
Okay, and I'll note that I tested it in my truck, which I could have just been shadowing it myself. So I'm going to turn the truck around and try broadcasting back, transmitting back to it again from that way and see. But we are using the 146. I've got multiple people help me on that so far. People are jumping on this in a heartbeat. So we'll see where that goes, and hopefully we get something going, because like I said, I've been in the derecho, I've been in the tornado at 610 and 290. I've been in the hurricane. I'm getting kind of tired of my office getting hit with every bad piece of weather that's out there, and nobody answering back. So hopefully that's our answer to getting an answer back. The other thing is, we are having, if y'all have seen, out at the Fulshire Farmers Market, we set up a booth. We have people stopping by talking to us. We do have this weekend, we're going to be doing WinLink. We've done portable antennas. We've tested everything under the sun. Fulshire police love us out there because it shows that we can respond out there if they need us to help. The next plan is, and just good thing the president walked in, because I am trying to get in with the Sugarland Farmers Market and doing a booth in the Sugarland Farmers Market. And we'll go from there. So if you want, tomorrow, starting at from 8 to 1, we'll be out the Fulshire Farmers Market. It's not too far from a lot of us out in Fulshire, sorry, not the Katy Freeway. West Park Expressway goes out that way, 1093, and come out and visit, give us some support. We'd love to have people. It's also a nice place if you do have gear that you want to test. Set up your antennas, set up your radio out in a battery environment. We got that. We try to bring out the generator as much as we can, but the other nice thing is if the generator's not there, Fulshire Farmers Market is nice enough to give us a nice little outlet that we can power off of. So another opportunity. Questions, comments, crude remarks?
Tomorrow, it's not tomorrow, it's Saturday, right?
Saturday, yes. What did I say, tomorrow? Sorry, yeah, Saturday, sorry.
Close enough.
Yeah.
So in competition with that, I will say that this weekend, Saturday, is the Texas City Ham Fest. So if you want to go to that,
We knew we forgot something. Texas City Ham Fest is Saturday.
Yeah, and, I know Rick Taylor has 2 tables, I have 2 tables. I don't know what else Steve Martin's gonna be there, but that's a good ham fest.
I'll be there.
You have a table?
No, I'm gonna share some.
If y'all go to the Texas City Ham Fest, go find Bo from Texas City, Ham Club and everything, and tell him, great Ham Fest, slap him on the back. He's a great guy. We worked together, but he's come to ours, we're going to his. I was gonna be there, but it didn't happen, so. But if you can make it Texas City on Saturday, make sure you can go to it. So, anything else, Richard?
That'd be it for me, other than, like I said, keep an eye open. We are gonna do, exercises with the, like mini, field days. You can work from your home, we can work from wherever we set up. I'd like to finally get the George Bush, Park to agree and maybe let us also set up out there, because there's a couple of guys that have been setting up really cool antennas out there. Literally flying dipoles out in the middle of where the baseball fields are, the Little League fields. They've been putting up flying dipoles, and that's been interesting. I've seen them put up kites now. So maybe we can get out there and compete a little bit with them and see what we can do. So that's
Sounds good, Richard. Everybody give a round of applause for Richard for doing a great job. Next year, Richard's also gonna have places out there so you can bring your car, or you're working on the radio, and get your car washed as well. If y'all don't have anything else, thank y'all for coming tonight. Appreciate y'all making it out.